All right, good afternoon, traders. Hopefully, everyone is having a good day today. Now, before I get into the show, I really do want to thank all my subscribers. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Now, if you're not a subscriber and you happen to be watching the show, go ahead and do so. I really do think you're going to get a lot of valuable information from my technical analysis. All right, with that, let's go right into it. The Dow, the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq all down today. All right, with that, we do go over the SPY, check out some key technical levels on that. But in addition to that, starting Jan 1, I am going to include the RUT and the triple Qs. I got a lot of feedback from my subscribers saying, hey, can you do a breakdown of those? So I decided just to incorporate those as part of the show as well. All right, guys, with that, let's do the SPY. All right, as you can see, as you know, we did a really nice gap today, and I really was disappointed. I really thought we were going to gap and go today and just continue going higher. But I do think we did see a lot of, short sellers come in and start selling this market, with that anticipation that maybe January, February, March, there's going to be a little bit of a pullback in the overall market, and that would not surprise me, right? We've had an immense run ever since we hit those lows in early March. We've been on this incredible run, so I do think a lot of traders, a lot of long-term investors are probably going to start doing a little bit of selling in the beginning of the year to lock in those gains, right? And defer that tax liability going into 2021. That to me makes the most sense, right? Take these profits, defer the taxes, and try to get in at a lower price. All right. So again, if you're in the spider, really not much to worry about here until the new year. But then we'll definitely revisit that as we start or may see some selling pressure. Okay. All right. So, but the next couple of days, I really wouldn't worry about it. Didn't really like the way we did this bearish engulfing candle, but there's a high probability we'll see stocks going higher the next day or two. All right, guys, that is the SPY. All right, let's go into the show. Let's go over the three stocks that I had mentioned as potential buys. First one was NETE. So if you remember from yesterday's show, I did say we were at this inflection point. This midpoint Bollinger Band would need to hold. I said get long if you can get above yesterday's high today, and that's exactly what I did. I got long right there at $12.50 as soon as it took out yesterday's high, and this went all the way to $13.20. I thought we were going to have a really good day. The markets were doing really well. We had gapped up, and then all of a sudden everything just fell apart. Here, let me bring this up on a 30-minute chart for you. Here we go. Here's that first 30-minute candle right here. Did a poor high. This is what I call a poor high. And then it took it out on that second 30-minute candle. And then that's when I got stopped out. I actually got stopped out at $12. So I took a 50-cent loss on this one. But, again, I'm glad I did. It could have been a lot worse. It did go down another 70 cents where my initial investment was. So going forward, guys, I'm a little concerned. But I did bring this up on that weekly chart. This is the 9 SMA line right here, the 9 SMA indicator. These are weekly candlesticks right here. As you can see, ever since we made that move back in early November, we've held this 9 SMA a few times, and here we go. Now we're retesting it down here. So again, I'm looking for a little bit of support. If you're long the name, I am no longer in this name, but if I do see a little bit of support down here at that 1086 level, I may take a few, buy in a few shares. But again, I may or may not. I don't know yet. But I'm just saying this: if you are long the name, if you are long NETE, just be careful. Any break below this 9 SMA means this whole move has now changed, and there's a high probability it may want to go lower. Okay, that is NETE. Second stock on the list that I said was a potential buy, one that I've been in since 26-25, is a PLL. This one, if you remember from yesterday's show, I said, hey guys, there's a high probability since we closed near the lows of the day that it may want to take that out. And if that does, watch for that initial support at the midpoint Bollinger Band, and then again at that 50-day moving average, okay? So look what happened. At that 9, it did go all the way below that 50-day moving average, but it closed right there at that 50-day, or at that midpoint Bollinger Band. So going again for tomorrow, if you did get long and got lucky enough to, be very patient, you saw that it took out the last 2 days lows and then you had your buy right down there at that 50-day moving average, you're probably really liking your risk reward setup, right? If you're long, you got long at 26.25 or thereabouts, or or even below. It went all the way down to 25.36 at one point. If you got long at any point at within that range, you use that now as you're out. Use today's low as you're out. Okay, guys. I mean, I still like this setup where that 50 is above the. I'm sorry, the 10 is above the 50 and the 50 is above the 200. But this is, guys, we're at an inflection point. We need to get back above this 10 SMA in order for this chart to start looking good again. Any breakdown below today's low, I think you're going to see an escalation of selling. So watch those key levels. Watch today's low specifically. If we start breaking down today's below today's low, I'm going to be out the name as well. Okay, that's PLL. Last stock in the queue that I had mentioned was WKHS as a potential buy. I said, watch this very carefully. We were at an inflection point. We were right here at that 50-day moving average. We were so close up to that low that there would be a high probability that we were going to take it out. And if that were to happen, unless we saw a gap and go, if that were to happen, there's a little bit of a gap, that was right here that was created on 12/21, and that may want to be filled before going higher. Okay, so if you did that and you got in and set your buy right there, right underneath that gap, you're kind of liking it now, right? You got in at a really nice price, and here's another one where that today's low has to hold. If it doesn't, there's a high probability that it's going to start trading below 20 bucks, and then all of a sudden this 10 SMA right here is going to dip below this 50, and that is the first sign right here, guys, that this wants to go lower. Okay, now again, barring any news, if we get some great news in WKHS, this can gap up and go, and then the whole chart changes, for lack of a better word, on the bullish side. But just as things stand now, if we start seeing a takeout of that $20 threshold, this does concern me a little bit, and you'd have to be very careful with your stops here. Okay, that is WKHS. All right, everyone, let me give you 3 stocks that look really good going into tomorrow. Hopefully we have a better day than today. First stock is going to be one that we have played in the past. Is BLNK. Let's bring this up real quickly. So again, look at that monster move we've had since we broke out of that range right up here at $14, guys. We went on a tear all the way up to 56 bucks, right? So take a look. We're right here at that 10 SMA. So again, buyers need to defend this line right here, this 10 SMA. Now, if they don't, and it starts getting below this 10 SMA, we have to target this midpoint Bollinger Band right here, guys, and that's all the way down to 30. Let's call it $33. Okay, so that's another almost 20% drop from where we are. So if you start seeing sellers dipping below this 10 SMA, let's target this midpoint Bollinger Band right here as our entry point. Okay, now again, if buyers step in and defend this 10 SMA right here, I'd be a buyer and then just stay long and use that 10 SMA as your stop price. So just keep that stop right below that 10 SMA as price goes up. Okay, that is BLNK. Second stock on our list as a potential buy is BABA. This one had a decent day today. On Friday, or last Thursday rather, it did have that gap down. Since then, it's gone up. Really like the way that we've back above this point of control. Here's an opportunity to get into a high quality Chinese company. There's not many of them in my opinion, but here's one that I do trust. And if you could get long at these levels, I think your risk reward setup is actually extremely good. You're going to have to give this about a $15 cushion, which isn't too much on a $236 stock. So again, if you are long, the low of last week, right down here of 210, let's call it, needs to hold. If not, guys, this is going a lot lower. So watch these levels. Your risk reward, if you want to get in, scale in, buy on strength. Let's hope and let's see. But we can get back above that 10 SMA, at some point early next year, and then we can see this going a lot higher. Okay, that is BABA. Scale in. I think the risk reward setup on this one is really nice. Okay, last stock on our list before I let you go tonight is AAOI. Here's one that It's coming off. It's not off its 52-week lows, but not too far off those 52-week lows. Now we're moving back up. That 10 SMA did cross that 50-day moving average, guys. We're back above this point of control. If you know the stock, you know the name, you're familiar with the story, and you feel comfortable, I'm just giving you a couple of levels to watch. If you're a long-term investor, okay. So again, get long this name if you can above today's high, and then clearly use that 50-day moving average right down here at 8. Let's call it 840 right down there as your stop out. Okay, guys, that is AAOI. Be a buyer again above today's high, and then use this 50-day moving average right down here as you're out. I do want to bring this up on a couple of charts real quickly. So again, this is based for a while, and this is the weekly chart where we're trading above that 9 SMA right there. So that's really nice on the weekly. I like that. And then lastly, I want to show you this last chart right here. The 5 EMA. The 5 EMA is above the 13, which indicates a new trend, a bullish trend in the stock. Okay, that is AAOI. Be a buyer above today's high, and then clearly use that 50-day moving average as your line in the sand, if you will. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Again, my name is Eric, and if you have any questions, please go ahead and feel free to leave them right there on that comment section. If you like the show, please go ahead and be a subscriber and give me a thumbs up. And, I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and watching the show. We do this every day after the market close. I try to give you the right setups that make sense based on key technical analysis. And I really do think you're going to get a lot of valuable information. And one day I do think you're going to be able to trade your own setups, right? So with that, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow after the close. And remember, trade smart and be safe.